our Premier League insider David Ornstein joins us live. Now, I mentioned during that wrap-up there, David, about Antoine Semenyo, his last game for Bournemouth because he's going to Manchester City, but has he gone yet?
It was a fairy tale, Rebecca, but no sooner had he departed. He was on the road to Manchester to undergo his medical, which has been happening up here, not far from where I am now today. An agreement has been reached fully between the clubs. Manchester City are actually not going to be paying the release clause in his Bournemouth contract. I revealed earlier that they'll be paying a fee of £62.5 million plus £1.5 million in potential future add-ons. It will allow City to spread the payments over 24 months, which is crucial for them from a financial perspective. Bournemouth will retain 10% of the profit on any future sale. The figure is actually a little bit higher than the release clause would have left Bournemouth with, which was about £60 million, because although we said 65, that included VAT, it included solidarity payments to previous clubs and also a Premier League levy. So all parties were happy with that, and it also meant that Bournemouth retained Semenyo for 3 extra matches, which proved absolutely crucial, especially last night. He finished this season for Bournemouth with 21 appearances, with 10 goals, 3 assists. And although they didn't want to lose him, the only way they retained him last summer was by putting that release clause in his contract, and they will think it was worth its weight in gold. Manchester City now get a player to jet propel their second half of the season and beyond on a 5.5-year contract as Pep Guardiola's latest signing, and of course with Semenyo and others out at the moment, I think they will feel that's pretty crucial. All we're waiting for now is an official announcement.
David, let's talk about Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi. In the summer, so nearly went to Liverpool, and now he's being linked to another couple of big clubs. What's going to happen with Guehi?
Well, the club most interested in Marc Guehi as things stand for this transfer window is Manchester City. They have been keen on him for a while, but they've stepped it up in recent days amid the injuries to Josko Gvardiol and Ruben Dias. What we're waiting to see is whether they actually submit an offer to Crystal Palace and how Crystal Palace view that. Is it at a price that would convince them to sell with only 6 months remaining on his contract before he could leave as a free agent in the summer? Would Marc Guehi be willing to make the move when he can have his pick of clubs next summer? We'll wait and see on that. In the meantime, Arsenal, another long-standing admirer of Guehi, retain their interest in him. They have been discussing him internally, more likely for a summer move, if indeed he stays at Crystal Palace. And they've had contact with his representatives. They're not the only ones. Liverpool too, who would also be interested in a summer move, having tried to sign him, and it failed at the 11th hour last summer. And there'll be a number of other clubs, the likes of Bayern Munich and Barcelona, have also got an admiration for Guehi. The ball is very much in his court now. What do you want to do, Marc Guehi, especially in a World Cup year where he'll be so important for England? There was an informal agreement, understanding between Guehi and Palace that he would see out the final months of his contract. But now it seems that resolve is being tested somewhat. And with so much interest building, he could be one of the biggest stories of the January transfer window. And if not, then definitely in the summer. OK, let's talk about management, shall we? Manchester United searching for their next caretaker manager after this current caretaker manager before they get a permanent manager in the summer. It's very clear. Where are we with this, David? So Darren Fletcher, Rebecca, will take Manchester United for at least one more match. That's Brighton in the FA Cup on the weekend. He could even still be in position for their next Premier League game, which is the Manchester Derby against City the following weekend. We'll have to wait and see. The conversations about a more long-term interim manager, a caretaker, are continuing. And the focus of Manchester United's attention are 2 names, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Michael Carrick. Everybody was saying it's going to go to Solskjaer. It may, he's a strong contender, but so is Michael Carrick. We must not write him off in this situation. There is a third name in the frame, and that's Ruud van Nistelrooy. He's been spoken to, but whereas Jason Wilcox, the Manchester United sporting director, will be meeting with both Solskjaer and Carrick because he doesn't know them from previously. He won't be meeting with Ruud van Nistelrooy because he already knows him. He was interim not so long ago. For whatever reason, Manchester United feel that Solskjaer and Carrick are the two most likely. But what they did want was somebody, whoever it will be, who's got Manchester United connections. They felt that was crucial in this moment of, you could say, trauma following the departure of Ruben Amorim. Whoever they decide to go for, and I expect news from the club next week, will be in charge, we think, until the end of the season. At that point, they will be looking to make a permanent appointment. So they've got some time to really deliberate over who's going to take them forward in the longer term. And that's why you're seeing the names such as a Thomas Tuchel, Roberto De Zerbi, every name that has been coming out recently. But I want to make clear that Manchester United's permanent process hasn't started at this point in time. It will in the months ahead, and that's where a lot of focus will come on to Jason Wilcox as sporting director, whose decision it will be over this caretaker, and he will be a key voice for the permanent, as will Omar Barada as chief executive, and ultimately at the top of the tree, on the sporting side of Manchester United, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and that's why eyes are turning to him as well. But for now, it will remain Darren Fletcher as they try and get that caretaker sorted in the days ahead.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long, and for even more Premier League content from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.